Money making can be one of the most challenging aspects of Old School RuneScape. I've done a couple videos now for free-to-play money making in OSRS, which can be a pretty miserable experience, but we did manage to find some good ones, so if you're stuck in the free-to-play grind, be sure to check those videos out. But today, I thought it would be good to switch it up and try out some members money making methods. So whether you're looking to renew your bond or save up for that epic gear you've always wanted, I've got you covered. Today, we're going to be looking at and testing out 5 lucrative money making methods, all of which you can do with little requirements. Also, I've been hosting weekly bond, GP, and item giveaways in my Discord server, so if you're interested in that, be sure to check out the top link in the description. I also finally launched an in-game clan chat. You can join by typing in ZazzyRS in the clan chat menu. Everyone in there is super nice and helpful, and we'd love for you to join. Oh, and don't forget to hit that like button to help me out in the YouTube algorithm. Thanks! Now with that out of the way, let's test out some money makers. Our first method of the day is one I used to use all the time a few years ago. It is buying climbing boots. All this method requires is just the Death Plateau quest to be complete, and this method is going to take place in Burthorpe at Tenzing's house, which is a short run west from the Games Necklace teleport. For this method, you're going to need to throw on a Ring of Dueling and a Games Necklace. You also want to have some GP in your inventory. To maximize profits, you can bring the exact change for 28 climbing boots, which is 336 GP. Also, if you have weight reducing clothing, such as the Graceful outfit, I'd recommend throwing that on. To start, we're going to teleport to Burthorpe with the Games Necklace, run northwest along this path, and then south and enter Tenzing's house. And then we will talk to Tenzing and spam the spacebar and 1 key. And we'll continue doing this until our inventory is full. Then we will teleport to Castle Wars for quick access to the bank. Now we will deposit our boots and grab our exact change of 336 GP and teleport back to Burthorpe and repeat this process over and over. I'm going to grind this out for 15 minutes or so, and then we will see the results. So it's been about 15 minutes now, and we managed to do 6 inventories worth, which is 168 climbing boots. Let's see how much we can get for them on the GE. At this moment, they're insta-selling for 544 GP, so I'll throw them in at that. Well, they didn't all sell at 544, but we sold a few and then lowered the price to 499, but we ended up getting a total of 83,864 GP. Now we subtract the cost of our climbing boots and teleports, which was 3,096 GP, and we are left with 80,768 coins in just 15 minutes. Multiply that by 4 to get our hourly rate, and this method came in at just over 323,000 GP per hour. Pretty dang good for such a simple method with low requirements. You could definitely put them in for a higher price if you're willing to wait for them to sell, as a lot of pure PKers often overpay for climbing boots, which would increase your profits substantially. Climbing boots is still a solid money making method. This next method is a straightforward, simple one, picking bananas, and this one has absolutely no requirements. This method will take place at Musa Point, which is easily accessible with an Amulet of Glory. You should equip a Ring of Dueling as well as an Amulet of Glory. I happen to have an Eternal Glory, but you'll be fine using normal glories if you don't have the Eternal version. You also want to have 23 empty baskets in your inventory and nothing else. First, use the Karamja teleport option on your Amulet of Glory, which will conveniently put you next to the banana plantation on Musa Point. Then simply pick a banana tree clean, which will give you 5 bananas, and fill up one of your empty baskets with those bananas, and repeat this process until you have all 23 baskets filled. Then use your Ring of Dueling to teleport to Castle Wars, which is a really quick way to get to a bank. Deposit your banana baskets, and grab 23 more empty baskets and teleport back to Karamja with your Amulet of Glory, and repeat these steps over and over. I'm going to go ahead and grind this out for 15 minutes or so, and then we'll see how many baskets we can fill. So it's been about 15 minutes now, and we managed to gather 92 baskets in that time. Let's sell them on the GE. They're insta selling for 570 GP, and we got 51,980 GP for our 92 banana baskets. Subtract the cost of our empty baskets and teleports, which was 596 GP, and we are left with 51,384 GP in just 15 minutes. Multiply that by 4, and this method came in at just over 205,000 GP per hour. Wow, who knew bananas could be so profitable? Our next method is another straightforward, simple one. It is smithing bronze dart tips. This method only requires level 4 in the smithing skill. Now I know what you're thinking, really? Bronze dart tips? Couldn't I just smith something better with a higher level requirement? Wouldn't it make more GP per hour? No, because nobody wants to do it. Each set of bronze dart tips you smith gets you somewhere between 260 and 270 GP of profit. We'll be performing this money making method at the West Varrock Bank, as there's an anvil just south of the bank. For this money making method, method, you will need a little bit of GP to start with. I grabbed 200 bronze bars on the GE for 26k. So to do this method, start at the West Barrock Fank and make sure you have a hammer in your inventory and fill the rest of your inventory with bronze bars. Then we're just going to run south to the anvils and smith all of our bronze ingots into bronze dart tips. Bank your dart tips, grab some more bars, and rinse and repeat. This method is pretty nice as it is not very click intensive, and you do also get around 12,000 smithing XP per hour. But we're testing for GP per hour, so I'm going to go ahead and grind these dart tips out, and then I'll see you with the results. So it took about 12 minutes to grind through the 200 bronze bars. Let's see how much GP we can get for them. Alright, so I put them in at 35 GP each, but it looks like they sold for a little more at 37 GP each, as we got 74,000 GP. Subtract our costs of 26,000, and we are left with 48,000 GP in just 12 minutes of work. Multiply that by 5 to get our hourly rate, and that puts us in at 240,000 GP per hour. Pretty solid low requirement moneymaker that also gets you some smithing XP. Not bad at all. Our next method of the day is a very easy, lucrative money-making method. It is crushing birds' nests. And this method has absolutely no requirements. We'll be doing this money-making method at the Grand Exchange where we can easily buy and sell our items. This method does require a large investment of GP, so it is definitely recommended to test it out with a single bird's nest to ensure the profitability. But I went ahead and bought 200 bird's nests for just under 1.5 mil, and all we're going to do is use this pestle and mortar on the bird's nests over and over. Now a little tip for this method is to position your pestle and mortar in the bottom right slot of your inventory and just repeatedly use it on the bird's nest to the left of it. This will speed up your profit per hour substantially. This method is giving me little flashbacks to when I was fletching darts. But I'm going to go ahead and grind out the 200 bird's nests and then we'll see the results. It took me literally 90 seconds to crush all 200 bird's nests, so let's sell the crushed ones on the GE now. Alright, I think I can sell them at 7,662 GP each. There we go, and we got 1,517,200 GP. Subtracting our costs of the bird's nest, which was just under 1.5 mil, we are left with a profit of 17,400 in just 90 seconds of work. So now we multiply 17,400 by 45 to get our hourly rate, and this method is coming in at 783,000 GP per hour. Pretty insane money-making method for just standing at the GE crushing bird's nests, and the fact that you can do this with no requirements is wild. Our last method of the day is making tuna and corn bowls. This method will require 67 cooking, which does seem a little high, but cooking is a pretty easy skill to train up. And this money-making method will also take place at the GE. I found this method recently while I was browsing through the wiki and found a money-making method listed on there which was over 1 million GP per hour, which was making tuna potatoes. But it didn't work out as the tuna and corn bowls required to make it was going for much more on the GE than listed on the wiki. So I pivoted it and decided to make the tuna and corn bowls itself for profit instead. And it worked pretty good. What we're going to do is buy some sweet corn bowls around 500 GP each, and then some tuna for around 110 GP each, then grab a knife and 13 of each ingredient, then we just use the knife on the tuna and sit back while our character does the rest. Bank the tuna and corn bowls and repeat this process over and over. I'm going to go ahead and grind out 200 tuna and corn bowls and then we'll calculate the results. Alrighty, so it's been just about 6 minutes now and we managed to make our 200 tuna and corn bowls. Let's put them in the GE at 1000 GP each, which might take a little bit of time to sell as there is a low volume on this item. And voila, to my surprise it only took 45 seconds. And we just got 198,000 GP. Subtract our cost, which was 121,864 GP, and we are left with 76,136 GP in just 6 minutes of work. Multiply that by 10 to get the hourly rate, and this method came in at just over 761,000 GP per hour. Feels pretty good to have come up with a decent money-making method on my own, and it worked out pretty well. I'll take it. And that's going to do it for today's Moneymakers, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it helped you out. And if you did enjoy it or learn something new, be sure to drop a like and consider subscribing to the channel. One more thing, I really want to make a video about your favorite members' Moneymakers, so if you have any good ones, be sure to share them in the comments below. I love reading through your guys' favorite methods. I read and respond to every single one of them. Anyways, thanks again for watching. Till next time, guys. Peace.